Lagos had a way of moving too fast for the average person. But Femi was not the average person. On most days, he floated through life like an easy melody, calm, thoughtful, the kind of guy who actually heard the ocean when everyone else only heard traffic. His friends used to joke that you couldn't stress him with generator noise, even if you tried. He worked on the island but lived on the mainland, right at that sweet spot where life was noisy but honest, where people greeted you with "How far, my guy?" and actually waited for your answer. Nothing in his predictable, gently arranged world prepared him for her. The girl who walked into his office like she was dragging lightning behind her. Her name was Kamsi, and the moment she entered the open-plan marketing office, the air literally changed, warm, sharp, charged. She wasn't the tallest person in the room, but somehow she felt the most present. Bright eyes, fierce stride, reddish-brown curls bouncing like they had attitude. She looked like someone who could break his peace, and he hated how intrigued that made him. "Hi, I'm the new creative strategist," she said, offering her hand. "Try not to bore me." It wasn't rude. It was playful. But Femi still felt it like a slap wrapped in perfume. He took her hand, soft, surprisingly warm, and the moment stretched just a little too long. "I'll do my best," he murmured, fighting a smile. Kamsi tilted her head. "Good. I like your voice. Very calm. Feels like it wants to hide something." Boy, his heart did a full flip. This girl had audacity for breakfast. And just like that, the office had a new gravitational center. They were assigned to the same project that same week, fate showing off. From the beginning, Kamsi was fire. Femi was water. God himself must have laughed when he paired them. She talked fast, moved fast, argued passionately. He listened slowly, thought deeply, responded with that soft voice that somehow made her stop mid-rant without realizing why. Every little moment between them was charged. The way she leaned too close when explaining an idea, the way he avoided her eyes too quickly, the way their fingers brushed once when they both reached for the same sticky note, and both pretended it meant nothing. But Lagos saw it. Lagos knew. The city had seen this story 1,000 times. Two people orbiting each other like something divine was doing matchmaking. One night, after a long brainstorming session on the island, the whole team left early, leaving just the two of them behind. The office grew quiet, glass walls reflecting the soft glow of 6 streetlights. Kamsi stretched, her shirt lifting just slightly, revealing a sliver of warm, brown skin. Femi looked away so fast he almost sprained his own neck. "You avoid my eyes too much," she said softly. "It's not intentional." She hummed, stepping closer. "So, if I step here," she moved again, closing the gap to almost nothing, "will you still avoid them?" Femi swallowed, hard. Her perfume, her warmth, her energy. It all pressed in. "Kamsi." He whispered her name like it was fragile. "For someone who acts calm, you're shaking," she teased. "I'm not. You are." And she smiled, small, knowing, dangerous, the kind of smile that rewrites a man's whole destiny. New York. Femi didn't sleep well after that night. Not because anything happened, it didn't. He and Kamsi stood there in that dimly lit 6 office, her warmth brushing against his calm like flame meeting thread. And then she simply collected her bag, winked, and said, "Don't overthink it, calm boy." But he did. Overthinking was his long-term relationship. He replayed the closeness, the look in her eyes, the smile that felt like she had unlocked a part of him he didn't even know he had. By morning, he told himself it was nothing. But Lagos traffic that day was louder, brighter, ruder. Everything felt off rhythm. Even his Yoruba radio jingle sounded like it was teasing him. At the office, Kamsi arrived late, breezing in with her curls slightly wild and her energy turned up to volume 15. "Morning, team." Nobody answered. They were all tired. Only Femi looked up just a tiny bit, and she caught it instantly. Her grin sparkled. "Good morning, calm boy." His chest did that stupid warm thing again, but he kept his face steady. He had mastered neutrality. "Morning, Kamsi." She narrowed her eyes. So we're pretending again today? That's fine. I'm good at pretending." He blinked. "Pretending what?" That your heart didn't almost jump out of your shirt last night. The whole team's heads snapped up. Femi nearly choked on air. Kamsi! She laughed. Loud, bright, reckless. The type of laugh that made people forgive her madness. Then she threw him a soft look. Almost tender. I'm joking, she murmured. But he felt the truth humming beneath the joke. They worked quietly for a while, but the silence wasn't peaceful, it was charged. Every time he looked up, she was already looking at him. And every time she looked away, he caught her smile. At lunch, she casually dropped into the seat opposite him. What are you doing after work? Going home. Wow, she scoffed. You're such a narrator killer. I'm inviting you for suya in Yaba. With you. No, with my imaginary friend, she said dramatically. Of course with me. His throat suddenly went dry. It's just suya, she added, softer now, suddenly shy in a way he had never seen. Not a date, unless you want it to be. That was the moment Femi realized. This girl wasn't just fire. She was fire with lay. The night air in Yaba had that familiar Lagos heartbeat. Hawkers shouting, buses honking, music leaking from random shops. But somehow, walking beside Kamsi, everything felt cinematic. Like the city was lighting itself up just for them. She walked fast, talking with her hands, occasionally bumping his shoulder like she owned the sidewalk. You know you walk like you're carrying peace in your pocket, she said. And you walk like you're chasing something. I am, she replied. Life moves too fast. If you don't chase it, it leaves you behind. That landed heavier than he expected. They reached the suya spot, smoky, loud, warm, and ordered too much meat because Kamsi believed in excess. They sat on a wooden bench, close enough that their knees brushed. Neither moved away. So, she said between bites, why do you hide your feelings? He froze. I don't. You do. She wiped a bit of pepper from her lip. He tried not to stare at her mouth. He failed. You're the type that feels deeply but speaks slowly, she continued. I can always tell. And what about you? He asked quietly. What do you hide? Her chewing paused. Her eyes softened in a way he hadn't seen before, the fire dimming into something almost fragile. A lot, she whispered. More than I show. For the first time since he met her, she looked away. And suddenly he saw it. Beneath all the boldness and heat, there was a girl carrying something heavy. Without thinking, he placed his hand lightly on hers. Nothing dramatic. No tension. Just presence. Kamsi inhaled sharply, surprised. I'm here, he said, simple, steady. She swallowed hard. Femi. Her voice wasn't loud tonight. It was small, honest. Just as she leaned slightly closer, just as the moment began to shift into something neither of them could pretend away, a sudden shout broke the air. Kamsi? They both turned. A young man stood across the road, staring at her like he knew her, like he used to know her. Her entire body stiffened. Femi felt something cold slide through him. Who was that? And why did Kamsi look like she'd just seen a ghost from a story she never wanted to tell? The guy didn't even wait for traffic to stop. He jogged across the road like someone chasing a memory. Kamsi? He called again, breathless. Her whole aura changed. The fire dimmed. Her shoulders tightened just slightly, like someone had touched an old bruise. Femi watched her carefully. Kamsi, the guy said when he reached them. I've been trying to reach you. She forced a thin smile. Emeka, long time. Emeka. The name dropped like a pebble into Femi's calm, sending tiny ripples. Tall guy. Athletic. A little too confident. The type of man who looked like he assumed women would always welcome him back. Emeka looked at Femi briefly, assessing him like competition, then returned his attention to her. I heard you were back in Lagos, he said. But I didn't know you moved to this side. And something in that sentence wasn't casual. There was history under it. Not sweet history, the kind that leaves small scars. Kamsi's jaw tightened. I moved to start over. Emeka's face softened. Concerned. You could have called me. You left for Lagos so suddenly. I was worried. Kamsi crossed her arms. I didn't think worry was your specialty. Oof, that wasn't just a line. That was pain wearing makeup. Femi stayed quiet, but inside, a knot formed. Not jealousy. Not yet, but a quiet, protective heat he wasn't used to feeling. Emeka sighed. Look, can we talk? Maybe tomorrow? Just 5 minutes. Please. Her breath trembled, barely noticeable, but Femi caught it. No, she said gently but firmly. I'm not going back to that chapter. Then she stood up, grabbed her bag, and nodded at Femi. Let's go. Just like that. As they walked away, Emeka's voice floated behind them, cracked with regret. Kamsi, I'm sorry for everything. She didn't turn around. Not once. But Femi saw her blink too fast. The kind of blink that hides tears before they dare to fall. They reached the main road in silence. Not the comfortable silence she usually filled with jokes, dramatic gestures, or chaos. This one was heavy, dense, like the air didn't know how to carry her emotions properly. Kamsi, Femi said softly. She kept walking. Kamsi. She finally stopped, facing the night instead of him. Neon lights from a buka sign painted warm colors across her skin, making her look both fierce and breakable. I'm fine, she whispered. You're not. That simple honesty broke something open. She let out a shaky breath. I didn't want you to see that. See what? That I'm not always this bold, fiery person you think. Her voice cracked. Sometimes I'm just someone running away from something that hurts too much. Femi stepped beside her but didn't touch her yet. He understood boundaries like instinct. When you're ready, he murmured. You can tell me what happened. You don't have to rush. She laughed weakly. You and your patience. It's annoying. But you like it. She looked at him then, really looked. Her eyes glossy, vulnerable, a little embarrassed. Yeah, she whispered. I do. A Danfo's headlights washed over them, making their silhouettes stretch together across the pavement like the universe was drawing something it already knew. Kamsi exhaled slowly. This city is loud, she said. But somehow when I'm around you, I feel quiet, like my chest can breathe again. His heart tightened, warm and slow, like honey melting. Without thinking too hard, he reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. Her fingers curled into his like they'd practiced this in another life. For a moment, nothing existed. Not the traffic, not the noise, not Emeka, not the past. Just two opposites finding a rhythm in the middle of Lagos. Kamsi leaned her head on his shoulder. He froze for half a second, then relaxed into it. Thank you, she whispered. For what? For not asking too many questions yet. He smiled. I'll ask eventually. I know, and I'll answer. She lifted her head, eyes brighter now. Femi, can you take me home? I don't want to be alone tonight. Not like that, nothing weird. I just need company that feels safe. He nodded, voice gentle. Of course. And as they crossed the road together, her hand still in his, Femi realized something. He didn't just want to understand her. He wanted to protect her. Softly, steadily. Even from the things she thought she'd buried. Kamsi's apartment was in Suralere, small but warm, filled with plants that somehow survived her chaotic schedule. The moment they stepped inside, she kicked off her shoes and sighed like she'd dropped a physical weight at the door.
Make yourself
comfortable, she said, pulling her curls into a loose puff. Ignore the mess. The place wasn't messy at all. Just lived in. Just her. Femi sat on the couch, trying to act calm even though his chest was doing backflips. He wasn't usually in women's apartments at night, especially not women who looked at him like she felt something she was afraid to say out loud. Kamsi disappeared into the kitchen and returned with 2 mugs of warm cocoa. Don't judge me, she said. Cocoa calms my brain faster than any therapist. He smiled. Then I need some too. They drank in silence for a moment. Soft silence, not the heavy kind from earlier. Then she curled up on the couch beside him, knees drawn to her chest. He shifted slightly to give her space, but she moved closer instead. Femi, she said quietly, I need to tell you something before it gets misunderstood. He nodded, patient. Emeka isn't just an ex, she whispered. He was my almost fiancé. The air thinned. Femi blinked once, twice, steady but attentive. She continued. We were together for 3 years. I loved him stupidly. The kind of love you write long messages about. Her voice wavered. But he loved too many things, including another girl. Pain flickered across her face like a memory she couldn't smooth out. When I found out, I left for Abuja overnight. I didn't take my things. I didn't explain. I just ran. Femi didn't judge her. He understood running more than he'd ever admit. She looked at him carefully, like she was bracing for disappointment. I don't want you to think I'm broken. He shifted closer, not touching her, just warm beside her. You're not broken, he said softly. You're healing. And healing people are some of the strongest I know. Her breath caught, small, sharp. Why do you always say things that make my heart feel seen? Because it deserves to be seen. She blinked hard, fighting emotion. Oh God, Femi, you're going to be trouble for me. This time he didn't hide his smile. Maybe you need a little gentle trouble, he said. Her eyes softened at the word gentle. And for the first time that night, she laid her head on his shoulder. Not out of sadness, but comfort. Something shifted quietly between them. Something neither of them named yet, but both of them felt. They ended up talking until almost 2 a.m. about work, life, childhood stories, their weird habits, their favorite suya spice levels. Each hour peeled another layer back. Kamsi's fire softened into warmth. Femi's calm deepened into boldness. At some point, the generator outside hummed loudly, the lights flickered, and she reached out instinctively, her hand brushing his. He didn't pull away. She didn't either. Femi, she whispered, eyes searching his face. Can I ask you something? Maybe a little personal? Ask. Why do you look at me like I'm not chaos? He breathed out slowly. That's because you're not chaos to me. She laughed gently, shaking her head. Trust me, I am. No, he said, his voice dropping to a tone she'd never heard from him before. Slow, sure, warm. To me, you're color. You're sunlight. You're the part of the story that wakes everything up. Her lips parted. The room suddenly felt too small for the emotions sitting between them. Femi. He leaned a little closer. Not enough to touch, but enough that she felt the heat of him. Kamsi, he murmured. You don't have to hide the soft parts of you from me. Her breath trembled again. She looked down, then back up, like she was wrestling with something inside. I don't usually let people get this close, she confessed. And I don't usually want to get close, he replied. Their eyes locked. Something slow and electric passed between them. She moved first, just a little, her face tilting toward his. He moved next, steady, unsure but drawn. Their mouths were inches apart. Then, her phone buzzed loudly on the table. They both froze. She sighed, pulled back slightly, rubbing her forehead. It's late. I shouldn't. He nodded slowly, giving her space. It's okay. She looked at him. Disappointment and relief tangled together. I didn't want you to think I brought you here for something I wasn't ready for, she said softly. I didn't think that. You sure? Yes. He stood, adjusting his shirt. She walked him to the door, her hand brushing his once more. Deliberately. Femi, he turned. Thank you for tonight, for listening, for being you. He smiled, gentle, reassuring, the kind of smile that made her chest flutter. Good night, Kamsi. Good night, calm boy. As he stepped into the cool Lagos night, something happened. Tell me in the comments what you think happens next. Subscribe now. Part 2 is where everything changes.
Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, made you smile, or kept you glued to the screen, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next one. Drop a comment. I'd love to know your favorite moment. Share this video with someone who loves good storytelling. And of course, hit the like button if you enjoyed this journey. More emotional, romantic, and powerful stories are coming your way. Stay tuned and stay in love.